Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Well, it's Brian and Kenzie on Q101, and it is Friday, time for one of Case's movie reviews. Again, if you're new to the show, Case is 25 years old and never watched big movies, and I just got tired of making references to lines in movies and him not knowing. So earlier this year, he started watching them, and now you feel like a better person because you've seen like Saving Private Ryan, like Pulp Fiction, like Point Break, like Varsity Blues.
Well, I didn't realize movies were as good as they were, which might sound dumb, but I had no idea that, again, like Point Break or The Naked Gun, which we did, which I really enjoyed, or Pulp Fiction or Jaws. Like, Jaws now, I reference Jaws all the time. I love Jaws. I quote that movie. These beaches are going to be open by the 4th of July. I love it.
Well, the thing is, you at 25 years old grew up in a time when TV is bigger than movies.
Completely, because I really care about the history of TV. I like old TV. I'm the only 25-year-old that references the Larry Sanders Show constantly.
Yes.
But movies, most of them are so long that I never bother to watch them.
Yeah, they're so long.
Well.
So here we go. Gladiator is a movie I certainly referenced. We'll get to the line that I always referenced. And I'm so glad you're watching it because Gladiator 2 is this weekend. And it's probably going to be one of the biggest movies of the year.
It's a big event.
It looks awesome. Denzel Washington in it. It looks so good. And I really might get my ass off the couch and go to the theater to see this.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that'll happen.
It's a hard thing to do
between
for
all
me.
the football this week, and I'm sure you'll have time for that.
Well, there's Indiana, Ohio State on Saturday. Got the Bears on Sunday. Okay, I'm probably not making it to the theater.
Probably not.
Maybe I'll go to a matinee on Monday. But let's go back to the year 2000. This is how we always start. We'll go back to the movie trailer on TV that was advertising the movie Gladiator.
The general
What we do in life echoes in eternity.
who became a slave.
You should not have defied the Emperor.
The slave
Win the crowd, you'll win your freedom.
who became a gladiator.
They said you were a giant. I shall cheer for you.
The gladiator
At my signal, unleash hell.
who defied an empire.
Today I saw a slave become more powerful than the Emperor of Rome.
From director Ridley Scott, Russell Crowe, Gladiator, rated R.
Ah! At my signal, unleash hell. I would love
That's
to
what
be...
you say every morning before the show. We're about to play a Green Day song. That's what Brian says.
Oh, God, it's so good. So let's just get right to you on this. And what did you think, your first thoughts of seeing Gladiator with Russell Crowe?
Gladiator is essentially Italian Braveheart. It hits the same beats. It has the same tone. It's a really long, drawn-out movie that is luckily made up for it by a few really intense action sequences.
I don't like where this is going. I may have to pull the plug on this review. I've never done that before, but I don't like how this is starting. Because I know you didn't like Braveheart.
Hated Braveheart. That was the thing that started this whole segment. Was I had never seen Braveheart. You were appalled. I watched Braveheart. Thought it was terrible. Thought it was a bad movie, and I still think it's a bad movie.
It's a bad take.
I was prepared to hate this movie because the opening battle scene, I don't know who anybody is. They're not telling me who anybody is. They're not talking. They're fighting. It's dark on the screen. It's hard to see. I was prepared to fully hate this movie after the opening scene. Luckily, it's 2.5 hours long. And so there was a lot of movie left, and it sort of won me over by the end.
The opening scene is what gets you in.
I don't know who any of the people are.
But why do you need to know?
Because it'd be nice to have an emotional attachment to somebody.
Well, aren't you emotionally attached to the general when you see him?
I don't know who the general is.
Because instantly, Maximus bonds himself, and you can see in the eyes of the people, the soldiers he's leading, they're so beat down, but they'll still do anything for Maximus. They'll do anything for him. You didn't connect with that?
Not at all.
What? Even his dog. The dog ran with him.
Well, so I watched this movie with my girlfriend, and we had to pause it right when the dog showed up on screen to Google if the dog died or not, because we were going to turn it off if the dog died. And then I thought, you know how this is my wheelhouse, you know in Knocked Up, they have the knockoff Mr. Skin site?
Yes.
There should be a website called doesthedogdie.com where whenever there's a movie with a dog in it, you can Google to see if the dog dies or not.
Because you love dogs and you won't watch the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see a dog die. I'm not a sicko.
Well, they do show the dog later, so I think he lives.
He lived.
Yeah.
It's all good. We kept watching. We saw the dog live.
You went to thedogdie.com and it lived? Okay, good.
Isn't that a good idea? This should be a business idea.
It's a really good idea.
This movie is sort of separated into two separate themes. There is, of course, the gladiators that are fighting in the Roman Colosseum. And again, the action sequences of this movie, by and large, are very entertaining. I don't love the slow motion effects they use in a lot of the battle sequences. That feels very 2000. I don't know if that holds up great. It doesn't detract from the movie. It's just one of those things I noticed that aged.
Sorry, some filmographer used slow motion to upset you.
It's just not, it's not what I would have done.
Okay.
If I was directing this movie. Not what I would have done. But the action sequences are very strong. That's one sort of theme throughout the entire movie.
I want you to pause for a second.
Okay.
Don't say very strong. They were historic. Like Rocky was with the fight scenes, Gladiator was with the sword scenes, and they were so violently real, all of the stuff that happened in the Colosseum, but even more so, like when he's in the woods and he escapes and takes those 4 guys out.
Yeah.
I thought they were impeccably realistic.
They're cool.
Oh, Jesus.
They're cool. I'm not slamming them. They're fine.
No. When you say they're fine, it's condescending.
Wow, you sounded like my dad there. Wow.
I want you to acknowledge that the fight team in Gladiator were impeccable, were wonderful.
They're cool. Whatever.
Oh, God. Go ahead.
Of course, you've got all these fight scenes, and again, they're fine. I like them, whatever. There's also, the other half of the movie is...
Sorry about that. My computer's updating.
What are you doing?
My computer's updating. Sorry about that. I'll bring it down. Go ahead. Sorry.
There's the fight scenes, and then the other half of the movie is... Is it Caesar? He's the guy ruling over everybody?
It is not Caesar. It's Commodus. Who's Joaquin Phoenix you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Commodus.
Okay. Commodus wants to sleep with his sister so badly, and it's so distracting. Why? And I get it, by the way. His sister is a looker. That is a good-looking woman.
She's a looker.
But she's his sister. There's so many women in Rome. Why is he trying to sleep with his sister?
Well, I think you just said it. She's a looker. Also, the morals were a little different back then.
Yeah, but incest does not age well.
Well, of course not.
I'm just saying it's distracting.
By the way, his sister, Connie Nielsen, the actress, was married to Lars Ulrich of Metallica and has a child with him.
That's pretty cool.
Does that change anything for you?
I mean...
Well, he's still trying to sleep with his sister, so no, you shouldn't do that.
I'd like to sleep with her, too. I'd like to get closer to Lars.
I understand. You can talk to him about the whole Napster thing.
Which he was right about.
Yeah, he was. Connie Nielsen's amazing. And Joaquin Phoenix, I'll give you a little tidbit, by the way.
Give me a tidbit.
So Joaquin Phoenix, who played Commodus, of course, Johnny Cash, when he was alive, watched that movie and said, if anybody ever makes a movie about me, I want that guy to play me. Joaquin Phoenix, which is unbelievable watching Gladiator because you wouldn't think he could play Johnny Cash by watching that.
Makes me wonder what Johnny Cash was hiding.
Sleeping, maybe wanted to sleep with his sister.
Yeah,
I don't know.
big family.
But then because of that, Joaquin Phoenix got cast and he became Johnny Cash in Walk the Line so perfectly. Johnny Cash was right. Joaquin Phoenix was the guy to play him.
All right, cool. I like that.
Yes.
So You've got sexual tension between brother and sister. You've got all of these fight scenes. And then as I was watching this movie, I was thinking about you, Brian. One, because I often do. But two, I was trying to figure out what are the lines that you quote from this movie? Because this is your thing. And I have more on the dialogue in just a second. But this is where I'll pass it to you. What are the things that you love about this movie?
Well, I'm gonna pull up one line here. I was blessed enough to go to Italy for my honeymoon.
You had a good year.
Good year. Okay, fine. We stretched the dollar pretty thin there to get to Italy. And when I got to go to Rome and see the Colosseum, to see it was unbelievable and emotional, religious, whatever you want to say that would take over your body and change the way you feel. I was walking toward it. It was about a 90-degree day, and I was with my wife, and we're walking, me and Megan, and I just couldn't help it. But seeing the Colosseum, I did this line from the movie to her. To her dismay, I did it about 17 more times because it was a long walk to the Colosseum. Like, it's so huge. You think you're right there, but you just have to walk still a lot farther.
Oh, that sucks.
But this is the line that I did when Commodus finds out that Maximus is the one fighting in the Colosseum.
Will you remove your helmet and tell me your name?
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions. Loyal servant to the true emperor, Marcus Aurelius. Father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife. And I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
I can't tell you by me saying the last part there, well, I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. Mm-hmm. By the 17th time Megan heard that, she wanted a divorce. She was done. My name is Maximus Decimus. I can't even do it right now. My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius. She was over it.
Really?
But it's an incredible, if you ever have the chance to go and see it in person, it is one of the most beautiful, magnificent things you'll ever see in your life.
So I'll end with this before I give my rating. I've watched enough movies now. This is the 32nd movie review we've done this year to know that I've developed taste. I've developed habits that I like in movies, habits that I don't like in movies. I've learned that I love heist movies. I love Point Break. I love The Town. Where you and I think, differ the most on movies is I hate when movies like this, and Braveheart's another example, no one talks like a real person in these movies. They all talk in this dramatic buffoonery way where I think in your head, this is how you talk, and so you really relate to it. I don't relate to it at all. I like the dialogue in Pulp Fiction where they sound like real people, but at no point in the 2.5 hours of Gladiator, and again, 2.5 hours long movie.
Okay, you made your point.
Does anybody go, hey, man, what's up? How are you? Hey, you been good? How's the family? It's all just this melodramatic nonsense. I can't take 2.5 hours of that.
Okay, did you want Russell Crowe in the Coliseum to walk up to the other gladiator and say, hey, bro, we doing this?
Would it kill him to tell a joke?
Would he take off his armor like taking off a shirt to fight? Is that what you want?
Yeah, I want somebody to talk like a normal person.
It was a different time, so that kind of language transcends you to that time.
It doesn't do it for me.
I don't think people were walking around there going like, hey, bro, what's up? I don't think they were. No one was there to confirm it.
They should have all been like, dude, chill.
Chill out, bro. Why don't we just get along? By the way, since you mentioned lines, of course, the biggest line of this movie was,
are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Now, Case knows that I go down the hallway here of Q101 and do that often, too.
This is true.
When we leave the show, see, when I start the show, I say, on my signal, unleash hell. When we leave the show every day, I walk out to the hallway at Q101 and go,
are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Oh, what a great movie. I'm really afraid of your rating here because I'm not sure. I can't tell if you loved it, liked it, or didn't like it, really. There's things you said you didn't like, but especially the wanting to sleep with the sister part. But go ahead and give me your rating. What are you going to rate it by?
I'm going to rate it out of Gladiators.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Yes, it is.
Look, again, this movie is like Italian Braveheart, but it's better. There's things that it very much improve on what I thought was such a terrible movie that Mel Gibson put out. That being said, it's not my kind of movie. I don't like the dialogue. This isn't a time in history that I particularly care about.
Ugh.
The fight scenes were fine.
No, they were impeccable.
I've seen better, but the fight scenes were fine. This feels like a real solid 5.5 Gladiators out of 10.
Oh, God. I'm really disappointed in you.
Why are you disappointed in me? It's an honest review.
It's an honest review, but I was hoping this one line would just get you over to a 7.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Very disappointing. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Gladiator 2 opens up this weekend. I'm so stoked to go check it out that I might skip the Bears game and go. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. You just heard Case's movie review of Gladiator. If you missed it, go to our podcast later. You can hear the whole thing. Disappointing with only 5.5 Gladiators out of 10. Not good. Now, 708 agrees with me in Case's preoccupation and parts of the movie. 708 texts in and says, Case, the whole movie was about making slaves fight to the death. I don't think incest was the biggest strike against ancient morality in the movie.
It's an interesting point. I did gloss over the slavery.
Yes.
But that's just how distracting the incest was. I'd like to point out, and you won't hear this on any other radio show in Chicago today, slavery, also bad.
Both.
Incest, super distracting.
But also bad.
Also, hey, I'm not a fan.
No.
Say what you will about me, I am not a fan.
We'll have new music from 21 Pilots coming up at 9 o'clock, plus Kenzie's Crimes on the way.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Lauren coming in, taking you through this gloomy Tuesday, but let's get to your takeaways from today's show and the rest of the shows this entire week. That's what Friday's takeaways are all about at 312-591-8300. So, Case, what do you got?
708 checked in. They had a bunch of good texts today, but I like their takeaway a lot. Everyone's travel bucket list needs to include these 3 things: the Coliseum, the Louvre, and the Green Lake Conference Center and Town Square Candy Shop.
Hell yes.
Oh, when you're in Green Lake, Wisconsin, those stories are endless.
Megan checked it in 214. Takeaway. Brian, son of a bitch. He's doing it for the money. Or an invite to the Rock's house. Well, first let's do this.
Jonas, son of a bitch.
And then...
Listen up, jabronis. It's time for the sludge man to lay the smackdown if you smell what he's cooking.
All right. Case, what's on the podcast?
Well, you and I contemplated faking our own death today. We go through how we do it on the Brian and Kenzie podcast today. Also, Brian thinks everybody's doing Thanksgiving wrong. He has some advice for you on what to eat and when to eat it on Thanksgiving Day. And, of course, it's Friday, so my review of the original Gladiator, Gladiator 1, on the Brian and Kenzie podcast. Gladiator 2 is hitting theaters today.
Miss a moment, miss a lot. Go get the podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Spotify, Apple, the Q101 app. It's newly redesigned. It's very slick. It's free. Download it.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.